Good afternoon. Welcome to the 5th Annual Conference of the William F. Buckley Jr. Program at Yale. My name is Zach Young, and I am the president of the Buckley program. We're really excited to be discussing this timely and vital topic of free speech with you today. We're also thrilled that we have such a diverse group in the audience that spans across teachers, students, alumni, friends, and more. And we're going to have an even larger and more diverse group tonight at our banquet. So the issue of free speech is, of course, something that Bill Buckley spent a lot of time talking about, and we have three really exciting panels today. The first will discuss the history of free speech at Yale. The second will be on free speech in higher education. And then the third will involve threats to free speech in society at large. I'm really privileged today to be able to kick things off by introducing our speaker who will be giving opening remarks, Master Christakis. Now, Master Christakis is a Yale professor and the master of my college, Silliman, who received his Bachelor in Science degree from Yale University in 1984, and his MD from Harvard Medical School, and his MPH from the Harvard School of Public Health in 1989. He then received his PhD from the University of Pennsylvania in 1995 and was elected to the Institute of Medicine of the National Academy of Sciences in 2006 and made a fellow of the American Association for the Advancement of Science in 2010. His current research focuses on biology and health and how these are impacted by social interactions and networks. I'm also privileged to have read one of his books on network science, which in a weird coincidence he was able to give to me a couple of years ago before he became the Master of Silliman. Master Christakis we invited today largely because he's been someone who has supported free speech. In fact, when he was at Harvard, where he led one of the dormitory equivalents of a residential college, he wrote a piece in Time about a satirical cartoon in which he said, "The protection of free speech is meaningless if what we really mean is free speech we find appropriate." Now, when I invited Master Christakis to this event, he told me he disagreed with almost everything William F. Buckley Jr. stood for. Nonetheless, he said free speech is something that shouldn't be divided across racial or political or partisan lines. It should be something we can all come together around. And so with that, I'm very proud, and please join me in giving a warm welcome to Master Christakis.
Thank you very much for that very kind introduction. So I had intended to stay for most of the symposium, but events that have occurred in the last 72 hours make that impossible. So I need to leave right after I welcome you here, which is very rude and is not my style, but I have to go to meet with some other individuals on this university. And I'm also very tired because I haven't slept in 4 days, and I'm less articulate than I usually am, I believe. And and as Zach said, I don't think I would have agreed. I haven't read much, frankly, of what Buckley has written. I have watched him on TV when I was Zach's age, and I don't think I would agree with anything in any material way that he would espouse, but I would defend his rights to express his ideas very firmly. And I suspect most people are here precisely because of this same fundamental conviction. And I actually believe that free speech is a very powerful force for social justice. I think this is widely misunderstood. Still, I strongly suspect that I'm probably amongst the most liberal people here, and that actually makes me quite sad that there isn't more ideological diversity in support of this principle. And from my perspective, concepts like free speech, patriotism, and science are not left-right issues. But it seems to me that both science and free speech are increasingly becoming so. I see them as complements, actually. They are means of first discerning and then describing the world. And I think the right is surrendering science. It's as if facts should not precede policy. We have noteworthy reductions in funding of science at the federal level in general, And in particular, as if, frankly, which also shocks me, as if our national security and wealth did not depend on the investments we make in science, technology, invention, and so forth. And also, we have targeted suppression of the kinds of scientific inquiry that are seen as appropriate. For example, research on gun violence, stem cell biology, climate science, political science, evolutionary biology, and so on, all of which have become targets, inappropriately in my judgment, of the right wing. But the left seems to be surrendering free speech, also at its own peril. And I don't understand that either. I've been involved, as Zach said, at least a couple of times in the defense of free speech issues. And as Zach mentioned, my wife and I came to the defense of some students who are actually of our political persuasion who had passed leaflets out criticizing what they saw as very elitist organizations on campus. And the administration wanted to find out who they were and punish them. And we thought this was ridiculous. And we said so. And now we are embroiled in this current event where the politics have been completely flipped. And it seems that we are trying to articulate a principle that people should be able to say and express themselves however they want. And in both cases, we were stunned to discover who was asking for the suppression of expression and their reasons. And these cases, these attempts to suppress these expressions, in our judgment, did not come anywhere near the customary carve-outs of free speech, the bomb threats and the harassment and other entirely legitimate and largely definable. I mean, there will be some gray areas, carve-outs. So finally, I just want to say a couple of ideas. I want to say a few words on this sloppy idea that free speech and emotions are in opposition. That actually, we must respect emotions and so avoid ideas. I see emotions and ideas as important ways to relate to the world, important forces undergirding change in the world. But I think it is very important not to answer one with the other. So the person experiencing an emotion doesn't want to hear an idea about why he or she should not feel the way that they do. If you've ever tried to reason a friend of yours out of the misery of being dumped, or out of their misery that their pet has died, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Telling someone who is suffering because they've been dumped that there are other fish in the sea doesn't address their problem, they can't hear it, it doesn't speak to it, it's in some ways at cross purposes. So it's hardly a rejoinder to the expression that my heart is broken. And equally, a person expressing an idea finds it hard to see why an emotion has relevance to the cogency of the thought that's being expressed. Now, the reason I bring this up is that those who ask for arguments based on free speech or a discussion of a merit of an idea are not, in fact, ipso facto negating other people's experience. And I suspect that this remark might be taken out of context and seen as a denigration of people's experience. Far from it. To fully understand experience, we need words as well as feelings. And it is precisely because people have a full range of experience that we must allow a full range of speech. Now, speaking to the Yale students here, I want you to feel at liberty to eat. I'm reading this. Usually I wouldn't read this. Usually I am capable of making these remarks without reading my remarks. But I'm tired. So I am looking down at them instead of up at you, which is what I would usually do. Anyway, speaking to the Yale students here, I want you to feel at liberty to talk to each other about any topic with an open heart and an open mind. And I believe that once you have those conversations, and with the faculty's gentle guidance, you will arrive at the right and moral decisions on your own, which is, in my judgment, the deepest kind of learning. When you learn from engagement with other people with different experiences, when you talk to each other and test your ideas with another human being who feels differently than you, who actually brings different experiences to the table. And it's precisely because I have such confidence in Yale students of all stripes and political persuasions that I advocate for this. And as I said at the beginning, I believe free speech, like the force, is a powerful ally for social justice. Now I want to say one other thing that moved me very powerfully. So I've heard a lot of things. We've received hundreds of emails, literally hundreds, in the last few days. I've met with dozens of students. I've gone to many events. And I've been buffeted with lots of ideas and expressions. Man, I heard a very powerful thing when I was at the African American Center. I forgot which night it was, yesterday or the night before, when I think my wife had talked about the importance of the defense of free speech. In the famous constitutional law case, I don't remember the name, where the justices ruled that actually high schools were precisely the areas that students should be encouraged to express unpopular views, because my wife has such confidence in young people. And my wife spoke very glowingly of the First Amendment, and I was feeling very stirred. And then a Native American woman got up, a student at Yale, and she said, those institutions that you revere expropriated my people and enslaved other people's, expropriated the forebears of my people and enslaved other people here. And my breath was taken away. Because she's right. She's also right. And of all the things I've heard, I've been thinking about that statement for 48 hours. So I'm benefiting, even in my advocacy for free speech, I'm benefiting from listening to this young woman who despises me right now, who really hates me, I believe, because she doesn't understand what I am saying, because she believes I'm undermining her cause. But I am not. I am entirely devoted to her cause. Actually, I believe with probably 75% of what she would say. And moreover, I believe that free speech is, as I said, a powerful force for social justice. So I'd like to just close by welcoming you to the William F. Buckley program on free speech today, and welcome you to Yale. And alas, I have to go. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon and welcome. I am Kyle Tierney, Director of Outreach for the Buckley program here at Yale, and I'd just like to thank Master Christakis for those words. He's been going through a lot recently, and we're glad he was still able to come talk about protecting free speech, because now more than ever, we can see how when the right to not be offended is given more priority than the right to freedom of speech, campus discourse and open debate is hindered on campus and even prevented.